classroom environment. So, yeah.
That's fantastic. One of the conversations I always get into with our preceptors is, and this is by no means something you have to share. I think we're actually finding that some of the larger practices, kind of physician groups, they actually have a training model on how to precept effectively.
Uh-huh.
And your model was really interesting, right? Like, how do you set up your clinic when
Mhm.
when you're taking on students? I think if I remember right, do you take on two or one or three at a
I
time?
usually have 2 students each day that
Okay.
I'm there.
Each day. So then
Yeah.
how do you manage that in terms of like how do you set up your clinic so A, they don't slow you down? Because obviously
hmm
that's always a concern, especially for our younger providers. They have a few years of experience and they're still getting their ropes down.
Sure.
And B, so that the students can learn from each
hmm
other as well.
Right. Well, the benefit of having 2 students at once is that you can alternate the students. So, like, student A will go in and see the first patient, student B will go in and see the second patient. And so there's kind of that alternation throughout the day of when the student is with the patient. Our patients now know that we're going to have students, and so this is just kind of our norm. And I think they're kind of sad when the students aren't there and it's just me seeing the patients, because the students really give the patients that extra time that everybody is always looking for. And so a lot of times that's how we organize our day. So the student will go in and see the patient, get the basic groundwork, and then I go in and the student will give me a general synopsis of what's gone on in front of the patient, because then the patient can say, oh no, I actually meant this, and maybe that's not such a big deal, or whatever. They'll contribute to the scenario. And then a lot of times we'll work through what to do for the patient also in front of the patient, because
Ooh.
then we can include the patient. And so it's a learning experience for all of us. It's a little unsettling to the students at first, but once they get kind of the flow down, they actually like it, just like the patients do, because then it's more of a conversation about care. It's not me walking in and saying, well, we're going to do A, B, and C, and if you don't do them, you're a bad patient. It's
Mhm.
this conversation, this learning. How are we going to help maximize healthcare for this person? And so it's really more of a community than a dictatorship, if you will. Um, and so then my role kind of is in flipping from, patient to patient, student to student, that kind of thing. And so it seems like it would be very harried and unorganized, and most of the time it's not. A lot of times at the beginning of the semester, like this semester, I was on vacation and went to a conference over the break, and so a lot of patients were trying to get in all at once, and so this past week has been pretty ruling for everybody. But
Mhm.
usually we'll see, at the most 12 patients in a day, which is phenomenal, compared to other places, where you're trying to crank through almost 30 people in a day. There
Right.
really isn't a lot of time to have that conversation about what to do about care and how to improve the students' learning, but also how to maximize care for the patient. And so, just the fact that we have this model where we have either half an hour or hour-long appointments, depending on the situation, it really is a setup for success for
Mm.
everybody.
That's amazing. So you mentioned, so you see about 12 patients per day.